Welcome to your PRV moment. Today's video is about activities, part 2. Now you remember in our last video, we talked about activities, we talked about vocabulary building and ways that you can use your vocabulary to describe activities rather than using verbs that can act as nouns and identify activities, right? Okay, so I want to share a little bit more with you about activities because we need to talk about why would it even matter that you get good at describing activities? How often do I need to describe an anthill? How often do I need to describe the ants building the anthill or even people playing a basketball game? How's that going to change the world, right? Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. Let's say that you become like the best remote viewer at describing activities. Okay, so if you're really good at describing activities, think about the ways that could be useful. What if your job was to describe how bombers were able to place a bomb in a certain location? You'd have to be good at describing an activity. If you were to describe how the kidnapper kidnapped the child and what happened, you'd have to be able to describe activities. Another aspect to describing activities that's really important is to be able to move to the reason why the activity is taking place. You can look at the activity and look at what led up to the activity, like what activities led up to the activity, what happened after, what activities took place after the activity, for example. Usually most events involve activities. And so you have to be able to know what's happening in the form of an activity at a target in order to describe an event. So activities can play a really important role in law enforcement and assisting, for example, the police in solving a crime. I can't emphasize enough how important it is to be able to describe an activity rather than just name an activity. And the way that you're going to get there is by practice targets. You might have practice targets of people at a barn dance. You might get an ant hill being built by ants. You might have a colony of bees creating honey. You might have various sports activities, and on as we develop your ability to describe activities to where that they are at a really finely tuned point. Okay, so I just wanted to add that so that you have a vision for why I want you to describe activities. So again, to get good at describing activities, build your vocabulary so that you can describe the types of motion that are taking place and the quality of the motion. And then try using movement commands to move yourself prior to the activity and see if you can remote view what is leading up to an activity and then what is coming after the activity. And then see if you can move to describe the purpose of the activity. Describe the reasons for the activity. And look at all the aspects of the activity so that you can really get some good in-depth information. I hope that this PRV moment has been helpful to you. Be sure and join me next week. We're going to have another PRV moment for you and you're not going to want to miss it.